So hello, good morning. I think we can immediately kick it off because we are on time. I still see people joining, but I'll already start with the introduction. So yeah, good morning. My name is Vincent. So today we are in the second session of our Microsoft 365 Copilot series. Last week we talked about Copilot Chat. Today we're going to talk about M365 Copilot. So when you have a license, and then next week we're going to talk about agents. But the QR code for the registration page is at the end of this PowerPoint slide deck. So let's immediately dive in, right? We're first going to go a little bit through a couple of slides. I'm going to go through it not like a steam train, but a little bit. Then we're going to go into demo. Demo mode, I've prepared some scenarios. I've analyzed all the challenges that you have all put in, and I've built like a little bit of a storyline behind it. So again, let's continue our AI journey with Microsoft 365 Copilot. By the way, I built this whole slide deck with Microsoft Create. Okay, I've built it then in PowerPoint, but still all the images and everything that you see, all the backgrounds, I built that with Create, which is available if you don't even have a Microsoft Copilot license, right? So if you just have a Microsoft Business license, it's available there. So today's topic, M365 Copilot. I'm Vincent. I have more than 10 years of experience in the Microsoft ecosystem. I've introduced Copilot globally here at Crayon as well. And then I start by myself training people. I've trained already thousands of people or business users on how to use Copilot. I'm going to make this session practical and inspiring. If you have questions, put them in the Q&A. We have some people in the chat from Crayon and Software One that will be answering the questions, but at the end, I will tackle a couple of them as well. Now, to start, what is Microsoft 365 Copilot? So maybe let's head a little or a small step back. We first started Microsoft Copilot Chat, right? The solution that we talked about last week. So there you have the chat interface. You are able to build some light agents, and there is also the IT control system. Now, if you go to Microsoft 365 Copilot, there you also have that chat interface, right? But Copilot has access to Microsoft Graph, meaning it has access to all your files, to your OneDrive, to your SharePoint, to your Outlook, to your Teams chats, to everything. And you also can, or you have access to Copilot Studio and to Copilot Studio Lite. So it's the focus of next week. But you already start building. Today we will start or build a small one to show in that Copilot Studio Lite for business users, that you really can already start building something that improve your personal productivity. But then if we look at more company level, process level, team level, then we better go into Copilot Studio mode, but we will talk about that later on. Now, most importantly is everything here is protected by your enterprise grade security, right? Meaning everything that you do within Copilot is protected by Microsoft policies, but also by your IT team, security policies, compliance policies. So that's super important that you actually, when you're using generative AI, use Copilot with business data, because then your data is secure. This is also to showcase it a little bit. It's a bit more, it looks complex, but it is not, right? So it's just to showcase again that all your data stays within your Microsoft 365 service boundary. So whenever you prompt, documents are saved, or if you're uploading documents are saved on your OneDrive. It never leaves the Microsoft 365 environment, which is super important if you talk about business environment, talking about as well security policies, data loss, etc. So that's a bit my main message as well of today. Don't use Copilot or ChatGPT anymore, but use Microsoft 365 Copilot in business context. Whatever you want to do privately, that's up to you. But in a business context, let's just stay at Microsoft 365 Copilot. Now, what is the prompting, right? Treat Copilot as your very own personal assistant on its very first day. You really need to keep that in mind. That's a quote that that we got from somebody at Microsoft 2 years ago when Copilot was launched. You really need to give it a lot of context, sources, expectations, and everything, because otherwise it's the same as talking to a human. If you just stay very high level, you will get high level output as well, right? So you got some less effective prompts, some vague ones that are just a few words. Just an example, summarize me news about company X. But then you have prompts that are obviously more specific, more detailed. When you talk about in full licenses, when you give instructions, when you state the tone, the purpose, the preferred format, etc., then you really have a good prompt, which will be more effective in the end. For example, here, I work in marketing and I focus on competitor research. Give me a concise summary of recent news about company X, Crayon, Software On, Microsoft, whatever you want to do. Focus on announcements about new product lines. Provide the answer in 2 or 3 paragraphs in a business tone. All right. So with this one, this is more effective. It follows a certain framework that we got also in an agent, but I will talk about that a little bit later on. So the prompt best practice, there are a couple of good ingredients that you can use. So the first one is the goal. What response do you want from Copilot? The context, so why do you need it, and who is involved? The source, which information sources or samples should Copilot use? So do you need a reference to a meeting, to a Word file, a PowerPoint, an Excel? You can add it as a source. And then some expectations is how should Copilot respond to best meet your needs, whatever you need. Is it a PowerPoint? Do you just want a summary, an executive summary? You want to have bullet points? And that's all something that you need to add into the prompt as well, because then you really will get what you want, right? Now, this framework, so the goal, context, source, expectation, there is a prompt agent as well and available in Microsoft 365 Copilot, and that uses the same framework. So if you want to update your prompt a little bit, or just use the regular Copilot chat, just have a chat with it, or use the prompt agent. I do that as well. For example, for the create, all the images that I've created here, I use just Copilot to create my prompt, and then I just copy paste it into create. So that's also because then it gives some more context, things that I forgot. So that's also something that I do. Or I ask specifically, this is a prompt I want to use. I want to do this. Am I missing something? And then Copilot will help me as well. Now, if you throw that together with a little example, so the goal is to generate a client-ready summary. The context that we are giving is next week we have a meeting with our customer's CIO. Sources are some Copilot adoption calls that we had, so some transcript from meetings. We're going to upload that. And then some expectations is I want to have a PowerPoint slide deck, right? Using a consultative tone. And when we throw that all together, then you will have this summary or this prompt, sorry. You push it into Microsoft 365 Copilot, and that will give you a much higher chance of that it's answering your needs, whatever that you want. All right. So really use that in every prompt, or really if you want to do in-depth analysis, use the goal, context, source, expectations, because then the chance of meeting it, whatever you want to do with it, is higher. All right. Now, agents, like I said, that's the full topic of next week, but we're going to touch upon it a little bit today. An agent is a digital worker that can understand instructions that we give it, right? And can take actions based on those instructions in order to complete tasks. Also, things that we have already defined within the agent, right? So you really can guide an agent as well in the Copilot Studio Lite version. You can already guide some agents to do some things based on inputs that you give. So we will build a very easy one. But next week, we will go a little bit more into the complex ones. So you have already some agents available by Microsoft, right? The researcher, the analyst, the prompt agent, ID coach, stuff like that. But you can also create your own agents. And that's what we're going to do later in this presentation as well. But for now, like I said, I was going to run through it. For now, we're going to start with the demo. So then I'm going to just stop sharing for a minute, and switch back here. All right, so here we are in the interface of Microsoft 365 Copilot. By now, this should be, yeah, you should know what everything does, right? But I will just repeat it again. Here on the side, you have some agents, you have notebooks, which we will touch upon as well, chats. You see it has been, since Ignite, it changed again. If you want to go to your applications, normally you could click here on top, or there was an application button here, but the applications are now a little bit pushed down, let's say, and you can access them here on the site. Now, we're gonna showcase some features now first, before we then gonna go into a couple of scenarios. So what you can do, because there are a couple of possibilities to schedule or to automate things, right? So you can, with Copilot, with Microsoft 365 Copilot, you can schedule prompts. So imagine I have this prompt. So look at my calendar and give me a summary of my day. And I want to have that running every day in the morning at 8, so I don't need to go through my emails, through my agenda. So this is just what I have here. That's about it. Looks pretty nice, right? But I think this is a calendar, or this is a prompt that I really want to do every morning, that I just run through it and I get a summary. So this is, of course, a very easy one. So you could schedule it by clicking here on the schedule one, and you can decide, I want to have it every morning at 8 o'clock, not in the weekends, and I want to have it 15 times, so 15 weeks, because I said here every week. No, it's going to be less, so I have 15 times. It's going to have 3 weeks that it's running, and then you need to do it, or you can schedule it again. And then you can receive an email when responses are ready, and you can click on it and come immediately back to this chat, and it will always come here. Another challenge that came from right, the forms that we have sent, was searching, right? How do you do it better? Well, with the search in Microsoft 365 Copilot, you can use your natural language in order to search. So you don't need to remember, was it again, what was in the title, what was in the PowerPoint. So what you can do now is just ask basically a normal question, right? Find me everything I created last week for Unmute Me. So you just look for it. You will look, or Copilot will look and go through all your files which you have created for Unmute Me. Well, since it's my business, you got a lot of files which I have been working on. You get a summary of what has been done in the last week. You can say, I want to only look at documents because I remember I did it last week, right? Only in the documents from the last week. And I only want to look at Word files. So these are all the Word files which I worked on. And you can then even filter on things that, or people that shared stuff with you. So if I look at, yeah, I haven't worked with anybody last week, so I can't find anybody, but you can look and search for people as well. If you remember colleague X send it to me, then you could do that. All right, so that's really more easy to look through your SharePoint, your OneDrive, your emails, your Teams chats. It does it all, right? So you can also look just purely on chats and on everything that you have here, even on codes. If you build some codes, it will go through it as well. All right, so that was one that came back a couple of times. So just use it, try it out, right? Give it some prompts, or give it some LLM, just some questions that you have, and then it will look for that. Now another one, because we all know you have that in ChatGPT, right? So you have that in Copilot as well. Memory. So you can give your Copilot, you can give it memory, you can give it instructions. So if you click on the 3 dots here on top, you can go to settings, personalization, and you can give some common instructions. So use clear and simple language, give honest feedbacks, prioritize my manager, for example. So that's all things that you can do. Or you can also save some memories here about it, and just say, I want to have only don't use emoticon or emojis anymore in your answers. That's also something that you can put in to just personalize it a little bit more to your case. All right. Notebooks. Next one is notebooks. So notebooks is also it changed from layout since last week. But what is actually notebooks? It's if you're working with ChatGPT, it's a project, right? So here you can create a new project with all different type of files that you have. So imagine I got here a green space project. Now it created. I went a little bit too fast. So I can add some files. So let's say here on the green space, I got all these documents. So I got some Word files, some PowerPoints. That's a project that we have been working on, timeline, meeting notes that we had, share or a stakeholder list. So those are all different type of files that I have in my environment. And I only want to give that as a context, as a background for Copilot. So that's why you start building then a notebook. So if you have add these, you see they will pop up here. It will start analyzing, and now you can start asking questions, and it will only use that context that you gave it. So if you now ask, give me a status update of the project, it will look through these files and you will get an update. You can also then give it an executive summary that I need to share with my management. That's also obviously something that you can ask. So this is the current status. Planning and design phase have been completed. Construction phase is scheduled for begin September. This is demo data, right? So data is not fully correct. This is the timeline, budget overview. I can ask again key milestones and stakeholder updates. So this is really how you interact then with your project data that you're working with specifically on that, right? So as you can see, this has one interface. Now, I have been working on some other project which it has another interface, and it's not changing now. So don't, because with the announcement of last week, you can now also share your notebook, but not in this interface. So it has a little bit of another one, but the system behind it is the same, right? So don't like get scared of this is a total completely different interface. It's normal. It's just changing in the next coming days, right? Create is also something that is very underrated. So I have been working with it the last couple of weeks, and it's amazing actually. So I can create a lot of images. So as you can see here, those are all my images that I've built over the last couple of days to have it in my content, in my presentations. You can also build a video. So if you have, for example, a PowerPoint from a policy and you want to share it on your SharePoint, but not as a dry PowerPoint, you can here create a video out of it to make it a bit more interactive. You can design some infographics, and even if you are in marketing, you need to create banners for Instagram posts, for emails, for LinkedIn, for Facebook. That's all something that you can create here. I haven't, or I created one as a test. No, I deleted it. So you can describe your banner. You can use a brand kit if you want, and then you can take the size if you want to have it for an Outlook email, for an Outlook event, a Word file, a Teams post. So those are all things that you then can select, and it will start creating it immediately then. You can even create the forms from it and some the documents and the words obviously as well. But it's pretty cool. And in order to have a good prompt here, I use Copilot to create my prompt. I just tell it what I want, it gives me a prompt, and I just copy paste it into this chat, and then it builds it for me. So that's really some cool features that are available with Microsoft 365 Copilot. But now let's dig in some use cases that we got from you as well. So the first one, meeting summaries, how to create action points, notes, share it with people that were there. So that came a lot like in the challenge, how you could automate this, right? So you can fully automate it, but that's for Copilot Studio, but you can also do already some pretty cool stuff into your Microsoft 365 environment. Now, if we go to my calendar, I cannot, because I'm now in Teams, I cannot open another Teams, right, with this account. So I have a sales call here coming up in my Outlook environment. I've done it as a test yesterday. I transcribed it, but I will go back to it. So even if you want to have or you want to prepare for the meetings, you can start in your Outlook, like asking questions: who's attending? What pre-reads should I review? Meeting outcomes, like help me with some questions that I could prepare. So this is all things that you already can do upfront with Microsoft 365 Copilot in Outlook, all right? So it will help you give me some ideas of who it is and what it does. So this is on some previous emails that I did for demo purposes. So that's around that, right? So that's before the meeting. You can prepare it. If you send out the meeting, you can turn facilitator on or off for the meeting. Facilitator, what does it do? That's really the agent that takes notes, that create the action points, and then gives a summary afterwards when it's done. So you can do that before you're sending out the meeting invite. You can click it to turn it on or off. Then it will automatically activate the transcription, because that's, of course, the only thing that you need when you need to create summaries and notes and everything. It's that transcription. Or you can do that when you're in the event itself, or when you're in the call itself. You can do it there as well, right? Now, if you open up Teams, it's not yet here, sorry. If you open up Teams, then I will go to that call that I had, right? So it's the call from the sales, remember? I had the call, the facilitator was on, all right? So then I can go into my recap. If I go into the recap, I find immediately the meeting notes. I found the follow-up tasks, what we have discussed. I have some notes that we had here. So it immediately creates it into loop some notes, and here you can immediately assign it. Okay, this is for Vincent. I will give it all to me now, for example. And which is cool, if you do it like this will come then immediately into my planner. So if I'm now going to look in planner, this will be at my tasks. So let me quickly go to planner. It will open up my planner, and there you could see those 4 tasks are now in my planner using the due date that we set into the meeting. My tasks, and it will come back. Where is it? Yeah, it has a lot of demo things in my day. It should come in my tasks. It's funny because yesterday it was immediately there. So it should be here, but now probably because it's in my general one, it's not really. Here it is. Sorry. So in the call sales, so it creates a plan for that. In this meeting, I had these 4 ones that were attached to me. I was looking at my private tasks. So this is need to indeed go to the sales call plan, and then I have it. I can find it here. So then I can start working on it or not if I want. If I have it completed, right? You know how it works. It's in progress or it's complete, right? So that's some things with facilitator. If you are working on tasks, you can add it. And obviously, if you just want to run through the transcript, which it's a lot of text most of the time, you could also download it and do some other analysis on it as well. Now, in order, of course, to be able to have a transcription, imagine you're in your office, you have in a meeting room, you're there with 5 people, and 2 people are calling in. It's of course difficult for Microsoft then to identify who is in that meeting room, right? Because you're calling in with 1 camera. That's also something that you can set or add into your settings, is face recognition and voice recognition. So how do you do that? You click on 3 dots on top, you click on settings, you go to, no, it's not here. Wait, let me quickly see if I see it. No, it's not here. That's also good. All right, so normally it should be here. So you see in demo, it's always, yeah, it always happens things like this. So normally it should be here, permissions or voice recognition, where you could do it there, which is not here now. Well, you should be able to do it. I did it yesterday as a tryout. So if you go there, you could add your voice, you could add your face, and then if you're in your Microsoft Teams room, for example, or you're somewhere where it's very noisy, it can really pick out your voice, which will help in better transcription and in better than analysis afterwards. All right. So now that we have done that meeting, we have transcribed it, and I also want to do some further analysis on it. So I can always come to my Copilot chat interface, and I need to be in work mode, right? So if you click on work mode here on top, your Copilot has access to all your files, to all your Outlook emails, files on SharePoint, OneDrive that you have access to. Or if you want to be on the web, then it's only looking at external sources, but you obviously can upload a couple of files here. So let's now say we are in work mode and we want to get our call back. So call sales, remember that was this one in the sales in the loop. So what I want to do there is I want to have a summarize the meeting and prepare an email to send to the participants. Mention the tasks and the people responsible plus due date. So now it's grabbing all the information which I have shared here or referenced. Of course, if you have other documents, you can also, if you have your file explorer open, you can just copy or just drag it in. That's also possible. So here it is. It went through the call, through the transcription and what everything has created there by the facilitator. So it's creating the summary, which I've asked. It was a call about Copilot adoption. So going from Copilot chat to Microsoft 365 Copilot with security and everything in it. Then I used some fake names, obviously, because it was a meeting by myself. And then we have an email draft for the participants with some action points that you have here. You can copy paste it. You can send them the email out, reply to everybody. That's all possible now doing it. Or if you say, right, I like this, but I actually want to just create a PowerPoint out of it because we discussed some good points there. So then you can just go to your PowerPoint and open a new PowerPoint, which then Copilot will give you an option, or you just start from scratch, or you create a new presentation with a file. And here you can again reference your call that you had and ask here to prepare me a PowerPoint based on our conversation. Keep it concise. Audience is management. Now, I always get the question, it's difficult to use your company design and everything. So if you do it like this, you can change your design. You can click here, change design. So this are the recent ones that I have. There are a couple available by Microsoft, right? So for this one, I want to use this, for example. But your organization can build it as well. That's on admin level and the tenant that needs to be created. So somebody of the IT team needs to create the design from your corporate account and add it here. And then you can select it and it will use your colors, fonts, images, and everything like that, right? So the first thing, when I'm ready with the prompt, that's good. I want to start it. It will build out the outline of the PowerPoint. And if you're happy with it, you can click on create. So here it will just create 2 slides because it was a very basic one, right? And here you can even then select images in a sense of you just let Copilot select from the Microsoft library, or your organization has a library of images. You can select that as well. Or you can say just make a combination and choose whatever you want. So now I'm going to click on generate slides. Or if you're not happy with it, you can still edit your prompt. If you say I want to have more slides or less slides or more focus on this, you could obviously edit it. And now it will start building that PowerPoint. So it creates me the outline. Now it's it is building the slides itself. And we have the slides. So it's just this one, today's briefing, key meeting insights. What is it? Summary of the meeting. We have some action points, some decision made. Obviously, there was a very high level meeting, right? So this is then, remember, the tasks and the follow-ups from the loop component where I edit the people responsible for the tasks with the due dates and which bucket. And then there is a conclusion and next steps. Now, I'm having this PowerPoint. What I want to do now is, of course, I want to have my speaker notes in, so Copilot help me to prepare for it. So if you're on your presentation mode in your PowerPoint, you go to View, click on Notes, and then you can create speaker notes for the current slide or for all slides. And now it's creating those notes for me. And then I can edit them accordingly if I want, yes or not. All right, so that's a bit from going from meeting to a little bit of a summary, give it into an email or send an email, create a PowerPoint for it. Can obviously go to Word now as well, because I think this was already a good meeting. What I want to do now is I want to create a Word file for it, or using an SOW. I prefer, but that's my way of working, to go to Copilot Chat and do it like that. So I just open a new chat. What I can do then is reference the SOW template, which is here. And then I'm going to add the loop call, the sales call as well, which is this one. And then I'm just going to ask now, build me SOW based on the template by using the input from the meeting transcript attached. So now it will go through those files, right? You are combining multiple files. If you have a template for whatever you want to build, it can do it here as well. So now it's just build it out. I forgot to ask here in my prompt to ask specifically, create me a downloadable Word file. So it's now just writing it out immediately here in Copilot Chat. You can still make some edits. Now imagine this is interesting, but I still need to do some edits, right? So what you can do is open now a page, click here on Edit in Pages. It will open up a document that you can share where you can work together on. So this is just editable, right? So background and goals. I can just add text if I want. I can ask, or I can work here further on Copilot Chat, ask a little bit of more an executive summary that it needs to add or not. And then I can share it with some colleagues to work together on it. So I could share it to only people that I choose. So I say I share it with Lotte. Then she will get an email, obviously. She can edit on it. And if we're then happy with it, we say, this is the end file, right? This is the one that I want to send to my customer. Then I could copy paste it into a Word file, or ask here in Copilot, build me now the Word file for it to keep on using it. And then you could save that, send it to your customer, build an email from it. So that's really from a meeting, a whole workflow, which normally will take you probably a couple of hours. Okay, this is very high level, so I went fast through it. Now you need to probably have some better prompts for it to really make it your own. but that's really something that you could do. And now imagine you really got a good flow out of it. You got some good prompts that you built, which is something that I always advise: save your prompts. Because by saving your prompts, you could also share your prompts with colleagues, because colleagues, they do have also meetings. They do also want to have summaries. They want to send out the emails. They want to build or build a document based on a template. So imagine this is now a prompt that is really good, that will come back multiple times. I can always save it. How do you do that? By clicking on save your prompt. Save example, I'm just going to call it for now. Obviously, I don't want always this files in. The template, yes, but the sales call, not. Cannot edit it. That's a bit weird. So this is then the prompt that I'm going to save. And now I can see it, or I can share it as well from my prompt gallery. How do I go there? Is clicking here. When you have the chat box, you click on view prompts, and you can go to all prompts that are built by Microsoft, or your own prompts, which you then obviously could share as well. Copy the link, send it to a colleague, or share it to a team in a Teams channel or whatever. So if you click on it again, you could then, of course, delete this one and add the new call, and then it will just reuse the same prompt and the same template that you have here. All right. Still got 15 minutes, so we can go for a next one as well. Let me go again to my planner, which I've closed. No, I did not. This is also very cool, which is included in Microsoft 365 Copilot. So if you want to build a new plan, you can build a plan with Project Manager. So now it will open up a new project. So that Copilot adoption, which I have discussed with my customer, I think, my services are really good. I want to create like a marketing campaign out of it. So let's start building the Copilot adoption marketing campaign. I'm going to add it to my demo channel, because it needs a channel to be saved. And then it will start creating my plan. So this is just basically very basic, right? You have your goals, a grid, a board. You can build reports. But what you actually can do is just let Project Manager Agent build your goals, your tasks for it. Obviously, you could edit it, right? But what I want to do now is I want to build a Copilot adoption plan based on, imagine now that presentation that I've built, right? That it had a bit more input, so I can use that as a reference. But now, since it doesn't have a lot of input, I will just use this. It will start building that Copilot, or it will start thinking what it can all do. All right, this is the outline of the plan, which is great. It builds automatically all the goals with the subtasks in it. Review. No, it's good. I can all review it now. Do I want to have this one? No, I want to have this, delete this task, want to have it above, right? Everything that you now can do with Planner, you can do it here. You can check or double check the goals again if you want to look like this. You can assign it to whoever it needs to be assigned to. But then now the cool thing is, if you go to the board, you also can assign stuff to Project Manager. So imagine establish key performance indicators for Copilot adoption. I want to let Project Manager work on it. So now it will start building that KPI, building those KPIs for Copilot adoption. What I want to do now is I want to just gonna click a couple that I've done. So it will start working on it. It most of the time takes a while to do, a couple of minutes. But I can now go to reports already, because it keeps on working. I can go further into my project planner. You can build a report. That was also something that came back from a couple of the challenges. Is I want to build some automated reports, build some project that we did, like stuff that we have done, tasks that are due, that are done in the last week. So that's, if you're using Planner, you can do it here now. You generate a report, you get started. I want a report from last week, additional instructions, update for management, and I want to generate now the tasks. The report, sorry. So now it's building that report. automatically for me. I will give it a couple of seconds. Let's now first go back to the board. So whenever we have assigned something to project manager, you can go to the ready for review because it will never complete it for you. If you click on it, they established some, or the project manager established some KPIs for the Copilot adoption. Again, you can edit this stuff, right? You can change it whatever you want. I think this is pretty good, pretty complete. So let's put the completion on 100%. The effort, 8 hours, whatever you want to put there. You can add some checklists as well, but I think this is done for now, and I'm happy with it. If I go back to my report, here you could see the report from the last week, right? Because that's specifically what I asked. Who the owner is, that's me. Executive summary gives you an overview, some about the project, what is done, what is not done, some highlights and achievements, some challenges, some things that we are working on and has been done. So that's really easy. You can now share it. You can even share it and create a SharePoint page out of it. So that's all possible within your planner. So you can share it as a newsletter as well that you can then send out to the people that needs to receive it, right? So that's very high level of a planner, what you could do there, right? Next challenge that we will go through is I got a lot of those ones with cleaning data in Excel files, predicting some or forecast projections, sentiment analysis, creating graphs and everything. So we will go now into that part. So imagine here we are in an Excel file with some onboarding survey sample that we took with our employees, which I have been onboarded in the last in the last year, right? What I always do now, if I come into Excel files with Microsoft, I go into data and I click on the clean data. So this will give me then some stuff that I need to clean, like is there a capital letter or not? Is there an extra space or not? So stuff like that. It will really look through it. And here it gives me some things to clean. So in table 1, I have here some extra spaces before the IT. Yes, I want to ignore want to delete them. And I got some inconsistencies in my typing. I got marketing with a capital M and with a lower M. So I want to replace all the ones with a lower with a capital one. So I have done it, and that's finished, right? So my data is now cleaned, ready to start analyzing with Copilot. Now, if you have already been working with Copilot for Excel or with Copilot in Excel, you can see here there are two things to click on. The first one is the chat. So there you can ask questions about the document. You can ask it indeed to already do the sentiment analysis here, which you then can create a Word file, Outlook, PowerPoint, whatever. But if you want to do changes on your Excel file itself, you need to go into App Skills. Because with App Skills, you will be able to do changes in your Excel file. Now it doesn't work again. Let me open it up again. All right. So let's try that again. Home. I'm going to click on App Skills. So now it's opening. Great. All right, cool. So the first thing what I want to do is I want to start analyzing the sentiment of the survey responses. So that's my prompt. I want to categorize it in column or the ones in column C. I want to analyze. I want to have positive, negative, or neutral. So when I click on it, it will start analyzing it because I want to have that input in my Excel file. That's why I decided to use the App Skills and not just the Copilot chat to do it. So it will now start analyzing it. As you can see, it's selected the whole table. And then it will give me, first of all, what it has done. Then second of all, what it can or what it will do, but I'm still in control. So I still, if I agree with it, if I say this is right, this is what I want, then I can click on insert column. So here you see positive, negative, neutral. It's defined because I asked it what it exactly is. And then you can insert the column. So if you hover over it, you see it will create a new column, which I like. I will edit. And now it's added to that Excel file. Now I want to have, obviously, I want to have a pie chart. Create me pie chart based on the sentiments. Well, so now it will start building me that pie chart. Do I want to have it in a bar chart or whatever chart you would like? You could create that now as well. So again, it will create it here in the chat, and then I can decide if I'm happy with it. Right, this looks okay. When it's finished up, I can add it to a new sheet, or I can just copy paste it and add it. Add it to a new sheet. It will open up a new sheet where it created the table as well. But of course, if I just want to have it, I can just copy paste it again here on this one. Then I have it next to my bar chart. So of course, what I can do now is from that Excel file, I can then build a PowerPoint. It will use the image that is here, or the pie chart that I've created. It will use it into my PowerPoint. And then you can, again, create those speaker notes if needed. I'm not going to do that because I did that with the previous scenario, and because we were running out of time, I will now go to another Excel file. So this is a project management Excel file with a lot of tabs, different projects, different consultant types that we need there. We have the hours that are assigned, the hours that we have already done, the hours that we have left. And here you can really start creating some extra lines. You can start projecting, and that's what we're going to do in this scenario. So what I want to do is I'm going to go to this sheet, and I clicked on it. It's again not opening. Let me open it again. Need to sign in again. All right, well, there it is. So as you can see, sometimes it bugs a little bit, but most of the time you can get through it. So what I want to do now is I want to include a row here, provide the total amount of hours projected, each row at the bottom of the table. So you could, obviously, it's an easy formula, so you could type it yourself. That's also a possibility, of course, but you could also ask it to Copilot to create it. It takes a little bit of time, but it will be useful for our next one, which is a bit more complex. Right. So again, it does it like this. It says it to you, and then I say, right, I agree with it, insert the rows. What I want to do now, because I have now an idea of the amount of hours, what we have done. I have the project here as a unique identifier. So what I want to do now is I want to do some resource forecasting, right? Because we are closing the end of the year, and we want to know, okay, how many resources do we actually still need to be able to plan better, to plan the holidays from everybody, etc. So what I asked is show how many hours are expected to be used by each role. So the data analyst, designer, etc. So it uses now input from different tabs. Yeah, sometimes it does it like this. The first steps that it wanted to follow, it's not using it, so it will go to another one. Yes, so here it's what it's doing. It has some code or the codes that it's going to use. So today Excel is really not working in my favor. Again, now it just gives me the formula, which I then can copy paste myself. For demo purposes now, because we are running out of time, I'm not going to do it, but I can assure you yesterday it did it. It just opened up here, then next to it some more or a new table with all the formatting. This is the one. No. So again, it doesn't do it, but it gives me the formula, so I could do it manually now. That happens sometimes if it gets a bit more complex, or you can ask it again. But again, now I'm going to switch to my last scenario because we have 9 more minutes left and I want to do a couple of questions still. Is an easy agent. So remember what we did is when we had the sales call, we still needed to add some templates and everything, whatnot. What I want to do now is I want to build an agent for it that we just need to reference the chat and it will the call and it will build me all the stuff that I want. All right. How do I do that? Is I go to new agent. I can describe it and configure it, but to save some time, I just have everything already prepared. So we're just going to immediately go into configuration. What we're going to call it is the meeting recap agent. I'm going to give it the description of it summarizes meetings copied in the chat according to the output below. So I have a scope, instructions, and what is also always important when you're building agents is give it guardrails, right? So I give it a scope, right? A description. I give it some instructions. So I want to have an executive summary. I want to have a summarization of the meeting. I want to have all the action points outlined, and I want a professional email summarized, right? So this is normally 4 prompts and takes you again a couple of seconds to copy paste them and to write them. With this agent, it will build it by itself, always automatically when you give the meeting notes. So I'm happy with it. I don't add any knowledge for this super easy agent. I'm not allowing it to search on the website. Only use specified sources. I don't have anything reference people in the organization. I don't need it to create documents for now. So what I'm going to do now is just create the agent. And then I'm going to go to the agent. Now, this is the agent that we just built in a couple of seconds, right? What I'm going to do now is, again, link that sales call that we had earlier today. We click on the sales call. I don't even need to give it a prompt because my instructions are clearly defined. I have my instructions, description, my guardrails, all right? So it immediately gives me the executive summary, which I asked for, the meeting summary, remember. It also I also asked for the action items. So that was discussed then in the meeting with the due dates and an email draft of everything that I need, that I can just copy paste it and reply to my meeting and immediately send it out. All right. So this is a very easy agent, super quickly built. All right. You could do the same for an SOW creator where you use that template. That's very easy agent creation for your own personal productivity. Next week, again, we will talk about some more complex agents, but that's for next week. All right. So this was it for today for my demo part. I will now have a look at the Q&A. We got a couple of minutes left. Can you please share the prompt for the meeting agent? Yes, I will do so. So I will just copy paste that into the chat. I will post that. Voila. So this is the one that we had now. I quickly gonna come back because I see in my script that I have that I had a really good one. So I'm gonna share quickly my screen again. So what you can do now is you can, because now I was talking to my meeting recap agent, I can also add other other agents. Let me go back to this one. So again, had my meeting preparation that I want to do. I can add agents here as well. Imagine this is a very interesting one. I got a Copilot chat option here. I don't have it. I don't understand why again, but okay. I can add agents here, the agents that are already built by Microsoft or other ones that I had, all right? So what you can do as well here is create a SharePoint page agent. What it does is it creates from what you have defined here. It creates a SharePoint, which you can share. Again, if you had a meeting you summarized it as you want, or an SOW, you want to share it internally, you can do it like this. Then you talk to the SharePoint agent, and it will build a SharePoint site specifically for what you have asked. All right. Now, let me go back to the Q&A. It's opening up. All right. So I shared that prompt. Great. So I got a question. For guilty for making typing mistakes, I have to ask Copilot if you can understand that a certain prompt contains a typo and provide the right response, or will I have to correct the request? Now, if it's just like a typo, Copilot knows it, right? It doesn't really matter if you're in a hurry or whatever, or if you write a couple of letters wrong, it will know what it needs to do, all right? So you don't need to, it doesn't need to be perfect. Sometimes I'm also using only like words instead of a sentence. So that really doesn't matter because it will read it through. But of course, if you really only use words, probably your output won't be the one that you are expecting. All right. The other question that we had for the SOW generation that we had, do you have special fields in the template so the Copilot knows where to fill info? No, I actually only had, if I open up my SOW template, I can look at here as a W template. So if I open it up, I actually had just a Word file describing it, what it needs to be. All right. So here, describe the client. So you don't need to have the coding. You can do it. Obviously, you can do it by coding, but I'm not a technical person. So I'm a business user. So I just describe it, what needs to be in that specific topic. So in background and goals, needs to be here. The scope needs to be this. So that's really useful by Copilot. But again, if you build something like this, you need to test it very intensively because sometimes it can just take it out. So you need to mention it then to not use all the text, but just use the input from the meeting notes, etc. All right. So does it work the same if you are in macOS environment? So probably you have seen it. I am using a Mac. Preferably because yes, everything is the same in Copilot on your applications on the desktop, but sometimes you don't have all the features yet. So what I do is I prefer to showcase or to use online versions if I really need to do in-document edits, for example, on Excel. But for like just Copilot chat usage, I am using just the desktop app, which is for me, which is enough. All right. I think we are almost heading there. Let me see if I can answer one more. I think all the questions are replied. All right. So now for the next week, I highly invite you to scan the QR code that you can see now on screen. Wait, I see one more question. Can I enable facilitator if I'm not the organizer of the meeting? If you're in the same company, it's always the organizer that needs to click on it. So I can see it. So most of the time you can see it, but you cannot click on it. Definitely if you're working with multiple organizations, different tenants, it should be the organizer that should allow it. All right. So now for next session, because it's 1 minute before my 10 o'clock, next week, we have the Copilot agents. There we will really go a bit more into depth into the Copilot Lite. And in the Copilot Studio, we will build a couple of agents based again on the challenges that you have provided us. I do hope for this session, I inspired some of you. I gave some good insights on what is possible, what is not possible. It's a good thing that some things didn't go quite as I planned or expected, but that always happens. So thank you very much for joining. And I do hope I see most of you next week again for my Copilot agent session at 10 o'clock CET next week, Tuesday. All right. Thank you very much and Have a good rest of the day.